Good morning, everyone. How are you all? I hope you all are fine at your places. Since you all know that we are doing chapter number one, and today we're going to continue the same chapter. All right. So let me start the share option with you. Here I go. I hope the screen that I'm sharing with you is on your screen as well. So we'll continue exactly from where we left in the last class. So in the last class, we did study about this paragraph introducing sociology, and I'm sure you got the meaning that I wanted to make you understand. And I also shared the PPT with you, in which certain definitions of certain sociologists were given in the form of Max Weber, Emile Durkheim, Karl Marx, Herbert Spencer, right? So these were very famous sociologists, very important. Okay. So I told you that sociological understanding of any social phenomena is very much different from philosophical and religious thinkers' viewpoint, right? Now, different philosophers say something about a particular phenomena, and religious thinkers also say something about a particular phenomena. But sociology see those certain phenomena in a very different way, right? They don't talk about what is moral or what is not moral, unlike your religious thinkers and philosophers, right? They would always focus on studying what is right and what is morally right or morally wrong, but sociologists were more concerned about understanding what is exactly or what is actually going on in society. They always wanted to uncover or unleash the issues that are there in the society, and they would always come up with certain reasons and certain factors about any issue, right? There can be any issue in any society, right? There can be issue of dowry, there can be issue of domestic violence, there can be issue of poverty, there can be issue of unemployment, there can be issue of female feticide, there can be issue of illiteracy, there can be issue of you know uh, people which are not getting basic needs of their life. So there are a number of issues, right? So sociologists always try to understand the issues that are there in the society, that are there in the nation, and they always try to understand the reasons behind it, right? They always try to understand the factors behind it, right? They don't go deep into understanding that um, is it morally right or is it morally wrong. That these things were done by the religious leaders or religious thinkers or philosophical thinkers. They used to do all those things, right? So look at that, what is written here. Observations of philosophical and religious thinkers are often about what is moral or immoral in human behavior, about the desirable way of living about and a good society. Sociology too concern itself with norms and values, but it focuses not on norms and values as they ought to be, as goals that people should pursue. Its concern is with the way they function in actual societies. So how people work in a or people work or function in a particular society, why the issues are there, why the problems, why the obstacles are there in the society, they try to understand all those things, right? Okay, so empirical study of society is an important part of what sociologists do. When I'm saying empirical study, then it means that scientific study, right? uh, the study that sociologists think do is not something that is related to common sense or what you think you are, presenting that viewpoint. That is not the case with sociologists. They do empirical study, means scientific study, something which is based on testing, something which is based on experience, something which is based on your observations. That is what empirical study is all about. So empirical study of societies is an important part of what sociologists do. This, however, doesn't mean that sociology is not concerned with values. Sociology is concerned with the values, but primarily, the primary function of sociology is to do empirical study of the societies and the phenomena, social phenomena that are there in the society, right? It only means that when a sociologist studies a society, the sociologist is willing to observe and collect findings, even if they are not to his or her personal liking. So they always want to, highlight certain issues in the society, no matter it is linked with them, no matter it has you know it is linked to them or not. It doesn't matter for them. They just want to collect data and highlight the issues that are there in the society, right? So this is what it actually means. Okay. And then, okay. So then, okay. Sociology from very beginning, sociology has from its beginning understood itself as a science. Sociology has always considered itself as a science because it does which kind of study? It does empirical kind of study, right? Unlike commonsensical observations or philosophical reflections or theological commentaries. Now here it is written, the philosophical reflections mean all the philosophers that used to, say something about any issue. These are what philosophical reflections are all about. And theological commentaries are are the interpretations or the kind of understandings that come out of the religious studies. So something that is related to religious studies, what theological commentaries are all about. And sociology is not bound by scientific canons of procedure, is bound by scientific canons of procedure. It means that sociology is something that is bound to follow certain scientific procedures, certain follow scientific methods, and without that they can't do their task, right? They have to follow certain scientific procedures, certain scientific processes, and certain scientific methods in order to be called as a science. That's the reason sociology call itself science, right? So what else? It means that the statements that the sociologists arrive at must be through the observation. I've told you that it does empirical study, right? When we talk about empirical study and something which is based on observations, right? So this is what it is written here, that the statements that the sociologist arrives at must be arrived at through the observations of and certain rules and evidence that allow others to check on and to repeat to develop his or her findings. There has been considerable debate with sociology about the differences between natural sciences and human sciences, between quantitative and qualitative research. Look what happens when we talk about natural sciences: physics, chemistry, bio, they all are natural sciences. But sociology is a human science. I hope you are understanding what I'm trying to make you understand. So the natural sciences, they are always dependent on quantitative data. They always try to solve their problems through certain equations. They are always into that quantitative research where they collect data. And quantitative means something which is based on numbers, right? But sociology is something, it's a human science. It has nothing to do with quantitative data, not primarily with quantitative data. Primarily it is all concerned with the qualitative research. It tries to understand the humans, their relations, with the society, their relations with the institutions, and how society is working as a whole, how it is interconnected. uh, what are the problems, what are the issues, what are the factors behind it. So this is what qualitative research is all about, right? So that's what qualitative research. When we talk about the natural sciences, it is all about quantitative research. But when we talk about this particular subject, it is all about qualitative research. I hope you are understanding. Okay. So what happens is that this is what kind of introduction of this subject or sociology is all about. Then we move on to the number fifth concept, right? Sociology and common sense, right? This is an often asked question that is sociology a common sense knowledge or is it different from it? Many people ask such question, right? So the answer is that sociology is very much different from common sense knowledge. It is not at all linked with common sense knowledge. Look, what is the difference between common sense knowledge and sociology? Look, I have certain point regarding unemployment. I have certain point regarding regarding, I would say, the crime that is going on in Delhi. Suppose I'm giving you kind of example that the crime is going on in Delhi, or the terrorism is increasing day by day in Jammu and Kashmir, or I can say that um, you know so, the case of dowry are decreasing nowadays, or I can say that. Or I can, there are certain reasons. I can say that corruption is very much high in Bihar, in certain states like Bihar. So if I'm saying this statement without any reason and without any observation, without doing any research and without studying these problems, if I'm giving this statement just from my own individual perspective, then it is just a common sense, right? I'm just giving this statement and I don't have any observations. I have not done any research on it, or I don't have any reasons for which I should uh, I should prove my point. So it is just a common sense, right? Because I'm saying all these things from my own perspective. I don't have any reasons or evidences behind it. But the reason I so it means that when I'm giving all these statements, it means that I'm just I'm just giving statements. I'm just showing my own perspective. From my own perspective, I'm telling all those things, and I don't have any reason. So I'm not questioning myself, right? I'm not questioning myself. I'm not questioning my statement. I'm not questioning what I'm saying, right? I've told you certain reasons: crime, dowry, poverty. So any kind of issue can be there in the society. So when I'm just giving this statement, it's a common sense, right? I'm not questioning myself. But the moment I start questioning myself, the moment I start, searching for the problem, the moment I start collecting data regarding the problems that are issues that are there in the society, the moment I, start, adopting the policy of see right mills that I discussed with you about the sociological imagination, the moment I start understanding the different perspectives to understand a particular issue, then it becomes sociology, right? This is the difference between common sense and sociology. The moment I start questioning my own viewpoint, it becomes sociology. And when I don't question my viewpoint, or when I don't come up with any kind of evidences or reasons, or when I don't kind of when I don't do any kind of research or don't try to understand the problems from different perspective, then it just remains a common sense. And when I start understanding the reasons of factors, or start understanding problems from different perspectives, then becomes sociology, right? So kindly text me if you're understanding or the difference between sociology and common sense knowledge. Kindly text me. So this is what, right? Okay. So this is what the difference between all those things. Okay, understood, clear. Okay, and what about Puneet? Can you text me? Because then only I can proceed further, right? Okay, so this is the difference, right? Okay, Puneet also clear. So this is what it means, right? Okay, so we have seen how sociological knowledge is different from theological and perspective knowledge. I've already told you that this knowledge is very much different from common sense, is very much different from theological, religious opinion that we have regarding something. Uh, and it is different from philosophical observations also, it is different from, it's different from common sense observations. Okay. So, okay. So I've already told you that. Look at this particular line. The common sense explanations are generally based on what may be naturalistic or individualistic explanation. So when I'm explaining something, it is very much individualistic opinion. It is very much my individualistic perspective. This is coming very much natural to me. But the moment I'm coming out of my natural zone, the moment I'm coming out of my individual perspective and start looking things from different perspective, that's what makes this subject different from common sense knowledge. Okay, so what else I was supposed to talk with you? Naturalistic, no, okay. So I've discussed a lot about this, right? Okay. So, okay. So, sociology thus breaks from means it doesn't have any link from common sense observation or ideas that are well from philosophical thought. Okay. It doesn't. Okay. It doesn't always or even generally lead to spectacular results. Okay. Common sense is unreflective since it doesn't question its own origin. I've already told you that common sense doesn't, question its own opinion, its own origin, right? Or in other words, it doesn't ask itself why do I hold this view? The sociologist must be ready. I've already discussed, a lot about this. The sociologist must be ready to ask any of our beliefs, observers, or no matter how cherished is this. And one more thing, you know, uh, when we talk about this, study of sociology, or what sociologists do is that they are never biased. Remember that. This is a very important point, which I think it's not in there in your book, just because I've got experience regarding this subject, so I can tell you that. Look, when sociologists do research, when they try to understand any issue in the society, when they try to, look the problems that are there in the society, they are always unbiased. They are always objective in their research. They always, follow the policy of remaining unbiased, and they are not inclined to certain opinion, right? Suppose if I have a very, if I am brought in a society where women are not respected, right? How I'm gonna think as it how I'm gonna think the problem of dowry. I'm gonna think it like it's a very general thing. No, there is no problem regarding it. I'm not going to see dowry as a issue. But if I'm brought up in a family where I have made, or my parents have made me learn that women and men are equal, right? If I have that feminism in my mind that women and men are equal and they should have equal rights, if I have that kind of mindset, then I'm always going to point out the issue of dowry, that it is not good, right? It is not good, or it is not good for the development of a society. Okay, and it's going to create issues. Then I'm going to think in that way. So what sociologists do is that they always remain unbiased. They always have objectivity in their mind. They are always away from subjectivity. Now, what is objectivity and what is subjectivity? Subjectivity means something which is based on feeling, something which is based on sentiment. So when we try to understand any issue in the society, when we try to understand any problem in the society, we have to remain unbiased. Look, we can't be inclined to a particular viewpoint. Like, we have to remain neutral, right, to understand anything. Then only everything will come in our mind, and then we'll try to understand, collect data, and then only we can do analysis of what we have collected, right? If we'll remain biased, if we'll remain subjective, we will just carry on our feelings and sentiments with us to understand any problem. It's not going to help you. We are not going to come out with the truth of the problem. We are not going to understand the problem fully, right? So in order to understand any problem to its full extent, we have to be objective. Means we have to base our research on, we have to base our understanding on 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 facts. Objectivity means something which is based on facts, something which is based on reality, right? Subjectivity means something which is based on feeling and sentiments. We don't have to carry subjectivity with us. We don't have to carry biased nature with us. We have to remain unbiased, and we have to do or understand the concepts and problems with objectivity. That's very important point. It was not mentioned in your book, so I straight away, it just straight away came in my mind the moment I understood, moment I was making you understand about this concept. So remaining unbiased and having objectivity in your mind, not subjectivity, and not biasness. I'm sure you are understanding. So this is an example that is given in your book, right? Explanation of poverty. Now, suppose there is a lot of poverty in India. Suppose there are certain states where there's a lot of poverty, like Bihar, MP, then Rajasthan, certain regions of Chhattisgarh and Bihar, these kind of states have a lot of poverty. So naturalistic way means common sense kind of way. How that particular person is going to see this problem poverty, is going to say that people are poor because they are afraid of work, come from problem families, and are unable to budget properly, suffer from low intelligence and shiftlessness, right? So people who are going to see poverty from naturalistic way, who are going to give their own viewpoint without doing any research, without trying to understand what problem is actually, without trying to understand that, people are going to explain it like they are afraid to work, they are very lazy, they don't want to go to work, they are not intelligent, or they are they lack intelligence to manage the affairs in the family, they are very ignorant about understanding how to budget in the family. So people are going to give very common sense kind of explanation to poverty. But a sociologist, how he's going to understand the problem, he's going to understand the problem, this is written like contemporary means present poverty, contemporary means present poverty is caused by the structure and or structure of inequality in class society, and is experienced by those who suffer from chronic irregularity of work and low wages. Look, the sociological explanation of poverty is very much different from naturalistic. Why this is a difference between naturalistic and sociological perspective. The naturalistic viewpoint is always going to be like, you will not able to solve the problems, like they're always going to think like that, they're always going to think everything in individualistic perspective, they are always going to keep it confined to an individual problem, because it's very important. Look what you understood. So sociological imagination by C. Wright Mills was very important, it was like a foundation for all of you to understand. Look, he always connected individual problems with public issues. He always connected individual troubles with public issues. Why he did that? He did that so that things start becoming highlighting in the society, and government start doing some welfare things for them. Government start doing start coming up with certain, I would say, schemes or certain policies to to remove or to eradicate poverty from the society. So the sociologists always try to highlight the problems and always try to uncover or unleash the problem to the greatest extent, so that it can become highlighted, and then only we'll able to solve it, right? But the naturalistic way is always going to be like it is individuals own problems, we can't do much about it. We don't have to think it like that, because we have to start thinking for the whole society, then only welfare of the society will come. Welfare, everything is good and everyone is not living that miserable life. We have to actually come out, help people to come out of their problems, right? And this is always going to happen when we try to understand things properly and going deep into the problems, right? So this is a kind of example, the difference between naturalistic and sociological viewpoint. Okay, so look, this is a very good point, that why, how government how government, or how any government that is there in the state or that is there in the country, how the government comes with a certain policies. Certain people do research on certain issues, and that's their recommendation go to the government, and then government frames certain policies and come up with certain certain schemes for the people, so that they could able to eradicate, or they could able to remove the poverty that is there in the society. Like government try to ensure that people should go to the work, and who is going to provide the work to people? Government is going to do going to provide the work to the people. The example that I can give you is Manrega, right? Where government ensures 100 day work to the people, right? So government understood that people are going through poverty, they are not earning anything. So that's the reason certain people, or certain sociologists or social workers, they did research and come up with certain factors that people were actually not getting work. That was the reason of the poverty, right? So that's the reason how government come up with the certain schemes and policies to ensure that people get work and earn their livelihood and actually come out of the poverty. So that's the reason I gave you this recent example of Manrega, right? There are other examples as well. So now we have understood the difference between common sense knowledge and sociology, right? Number fifth concept, right? Okay, so what else? So we have understood this concept as well. So now if any kind of question like that comes, like what is the difference or how sociology is different from common sense knowledge, and I'm sure you will able to answer that this particular question, that how it is different. I've given you, lot of explanation regarding this concept. It is scientific in nature, it follows certain procedure, it understands the things from different perspectives. So I'm sure you have got the understanding that how it is different from common sense knowledge. Okay, so okay. So moving on to the next concept, concept number 6, the intellectual ideas that went into the making of sociology, right? Okay. So this is the next concept, right? I have to see how much time is left for this class. Okay. So we will read something about this concept as well, right? We've got few minutes left. The individual ideas that went into the making of sociology. Influenced by scientific theories of natural evolution and findings about pre-modern societies made by early travelers, colonial administrators, sociologists, and social anthropologists sought to categorize societies into types and to distinguish stages in social development. These features reappear in the 19th century in works of early sociologists Auguste Comte, further indication. Auguste Comte, Karl Marx, Herbert Spencer. Efforts were therefore made to classify different societies, different types of societies on that basis. For instance, types of pre-modern societies such as hunter-gatherers, pastoral and agrarian, non-industrial civilization types of modern society. So we've got very less time for this class. So I'll just give you a kind of outline regarding what this particular paragraph actually means. So what happened, there are certain reasons that gave rise to emergence of this particular subject, right? So here we are understanding this particular concept number 6, we are understanding the intellectual ideas. Intellectual ideas means the ideas that came from the mind of certain high level thinkers or high level sociologists. So which were those sociologists? Auguste Comte, who is also father of sociology, he coined this term in 1838. Remember that. Auguste Comte, who is regarded as father of sociology, he coined this particular word in 1838, right? And Karl Marx is also another sociologist. Herbert Spencer. You're gonna see these sociologists further in further lessons also. We are going to study about these sociologists further in the following chapters, right? So what they did is that they classified society into two categories, right? One is pre-modern society and the other one is modern society. Look, when we say modern society, then it means that at that time tribal people used to be there, they used to do hunting, they used to do gathering work. Gathering means they used to collect forest produce, that was, they are in the forest. That was a kind of survival for them, you know? That was a kind of survival for them. So they used to do hunting and they used to do gathering, okay, of the forest produced. They used to be agrarian society. Now pastoral are something that rear their animals, and they move from one place to another, and the forest that give them certain products, they go and shift in that particular forest. So that's what they used to do. Agrarian. Now what does agrarian mean? Agrarian means something that is based on agriculture. People used to do, before modern societies there was a pre-modern society in which uh, people used to depend a lot on agriculture. People used to work in their fields. People used to you know uh, grow rice and wheat, all those things. People used to do a lot of agriculture activities. So earlier there were agriculture societies. Earlier there were hunters. Earlier there were gatherers, pastoral, and non-industrial civilization. Earlier there were cultures that were really, all those cultures were non-industrial cultures, because at that particular time pre-modern societies didn't have any industries, didn't have any factories, uh, and that's the reason people used to rely more on agriculture. But the moment industries start coming in, the moment factories start coming in, the moment the industrial factories start establishing, they came modern society, right? So people started, going away from all those activities that they used to do in the pre-modern societies. So these two societies were actually classified by intellectual people, I would say, and those intellectual people were Karl Marx, Herbert Spencer, Auguste Comte, and these all are sociologists, right? So they classified society into these two categories, and they did study also on these two categories. And we'll study everything regarding this concept in the next chapter, because the time has come to say you goodbye. So kindly text me if you've understood everything until now that I've made you understood today. Kindly text me. After every class, I always ask you your queries, right? It's very important to do that. Okay, Ayush understood. Ayush understood. Okay, so as I've already told you, that time has come to say you goodbye. So until then, take care all. Stay safe, stay at home, and utilize your time as much as you can. Okay, and God bless you all. Bye bye. Okay, I'll meet you tomorrow. Okay, bye bye.